had the greatest Bengali of all time in the most critical juncture for history, our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He dreamt to free the Bengali people of all kinds of oppression, subjugation, and discrimination. He dreamt of an independent country and for his people and a golden Bengal without poverty and starvation. He united the Bengali nation and inspired us to strive for achieving the goal. Bangabandhu's name is also intertwined with Bangladesh that without him, the existence of the country and the nation cannot even be comprehended. He loved his country. He loved his people. He loved them so much that he sacrificed 55 years of his life in prison so that one day his country could live a free and prosperous life. It is because of this, he once said, my greatest strength is love for my people, and my greatest weakness is that I love them too much. From the very beginning of his life, Bangabandhu was at the forefront of every major political event concerning the rights of self-determination of the people. From the language movement in 1952, the movement against martial law in 1958, six-point program 1966, the mass upsurge in 1969, general elections in 1970. Bangabandhu's leadership was a guiding light for the people. When the Pakistani military junta denied to peacefully transfer the power to the rightfully elected party, Awami League, his illuminating speech on March 1971, এবারের সংগ্রাম আমাদের মুক্তির সংগ্রাম, এবারের সংগ্রাম স্বাধীনতার সংগ্রাম, and তোমাদের যা কিছু আছে তা নিয়ে শত্রুর মোকাবেলা করতে হবে. These words inspired the whole nation to rise against the denial and snatch their independence from the Pakistani junta, fighting a 9 months long bloody war. When the war was over and Bangladesh became independent again after 100 years ruled by foreign rulers, Bangabandhu concentrated all his attention to nation building, gigantic task of making the war-ravaged country to the golden Bengal of his dream against insurmountable problems and challenges. He rebuilt the backbone of the agriculture, transport networks, and industries. They were almost entirely destroyed during the war within a very short period of time. His government resettled the 10 million refugees coming back from India despite a severe lack of resources. Bangabandhu gifted us with one of the finest constitutions in the world, making democracy, socialism, secularism, and nationalism the four guiding principles. On the external front, Bangabandhu's government secured recognition of the newly independent Bangladesh from almost the entire globe, even from countries that did not support us during our war of independence. Bangabandhu's charismatic leadership and personality earned him the admiration of contemporary global leaders. Bangabandhu's entire life was a series of protests against oppression and discrimination and a beacon of hope in the just war of freedom and peace. As a statesman, he guided Bangladesh to the values of peaceful coexistence and regional and global cooperation in a practice of international relations. His comment, friendship to all and malice to none, is still adhered by Bangladesh as her foreign policy motto. Ladies and gentlemen, we are aware that it is indeed a daunting task to highlight every aspect of Bangabandhu's life, his works, his achievements in this limited time of a single web seminar. However, we believe that it is really important that we revisit the life and discuss the philosophy of the father of the nation and take inspiration for ourselves from his dedication and commitment. It is even more relevant as we are all striving from our respective positions to strengthen the hands of his able daughter, the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, in achieving the goals of Vision 2041. We realize the dream Bangabandhu had once dreamt of his beloved country. It is therefore of utmost importance that we disseminate Bangabandhu's vision and philosophy among our expatriates and also the national seer of Oman. Keeping in view in mind, Bangladesh Embassy Muscat has organized a series of meetings. Already we have organized a series of meetings, in fact 9 meetings in the Mujib year to exchange views with their expatriate communities, the 9 governors of Oman. We also arranged a special seminar titled Mujib Year Seminar on Bangladesh, Your Destination for Trade and Investment in Dhofar Governorate in Salalah, so that our expatriate community and the Omani citizens can be informed and contribute their respective position to building Bangabandhu Sonar Bana. Therefore, while celebrating the 100th birth anniversary of the father of the nation simultaneously with the 50th anniversary of Bangladesh, we thought it would be a befitting tribute to the memory of the father of the nation if we could hold a discussion program such as this in the presence of our expatriate community in Oman. Our goal is to reach out through this webinar to all Bengalis and as many as possible Omani citizens living in every corner of Oman and in fact all over the world. Lastly, I appreciate all of you for your kind participation. I'm especially grateful to Colonel Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahid, who will be presenting a valuable speech today. My heartfelt thanks to Professor Saad Al Muqaddam and Professor Purushottam Chakra for their kind presence. I appreciate Professor Mujibur Rahman for his support and every initiative he has always given to us in materializing this program. And I thank my colleague in the ministry, Secretary East, Ambassador Mashfi Shams, for a valuable time. Last but not the least, I thank especially the members of our expatriate community who have joined us today virtually. So now with these words, I hand over the microphone again to Mashfi. Back to you, Mashfi. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Thank you very much for your warm welcome and the insightful comments. Ladies and gentlemen, let us now begin the next segment, the speech by our chief guest, Lieutenant Colonel Retired Sajjad Ali Johir Bir Pratik. Distinguished guests, Colonel Johir took part in the Liberation War and received Bir Pratik Award for his bravery in the war. Later, he dedicated himself to research on topics related to the Liberation War, genocide, Mukti Bahini, war heroes, and the life of the father of the nation. He was awarded Shadhinata Padak, the highest civil award of Bangladesh, in 2013, and the Padma Shri Award by the Government of India this year for his lifelong contribution and dedication. He has so far authored 55 books, many articles, and took part in numerous seminars, meetings, and TV programs to spread the spirit of the Liberation War all over the country. We are very grateful that Colonel Johir Sir has generously consented to join us today despite his packed schedule. The next few minutes would be enlightening for all of us as we would be hearing about the Liberation War and its supreme commander directly from a freedom fighter. Ladies and gentlemen, now let me invite Lieutenant Colonel Retired Qazi Sajjad Ali Johir to deliver his speech. Sir, the mic is now yours.
You have to unmute the mic. Unmute it.
Sir, please unmute the mic.
At the top right-hand corner. At the top right-hand corner.
Thank you, Miss Mashfi Rahman, for a kind introduction of mine. I am very humbled to be present over here to deliver a small talk on the father of the nation and our independence war. I present my compliments to the Secretary Mashfi bin Mustafa and Excellency Ambassador Mizanur Rahman and all the persons present over here, and welcome to my discussion. As a large majority of us speak in Bangla, I will start my lecture in English, and then in the later part, I will speak some words in Bangla also. To talk about the father of the nation, we have to go back to the pages of history. In 1947, Pakistan was made independent. We were very happy people. For the independence of Pakistan, the people of Bengal, especially the Muslim community of East Bengal, played a glorious role. In the 45 election of India, given by the British, 21 provinces took part in the election. In 19 provinces, Congress won. 2 provinces, Muslim League won. And those provinces were Sindh province, Jinnah's birthplace is Karachi, and he won a marginal victory only by 3%. And in Bengal, Jinnah's Muslim League won a victory with 80%. And why it happened is due to some historical reasons. In 45 and a part of 44, there were massive riots in all over India, and the biggest riots took place in East Bengal. And at that time, a mental division came between the Hindus and Muslims. We may not like Mr. Jinnah for many of his activities, but he was a prolific speaker, very educated man, very argumentative, a classic lawyer, and he appealed to the people of Bengal and requested them for his support. And in return, he assured that he will give us equal rights, democracy, and make us a solvent population. We, the people of East Bengal at that time, were really in a very dire need of economic emancipation and other social rights. So the people of Bengal stood beside Jinnah, trusted him, gave a slogan, Karenge ya marenge, larke lenge Pakistan. There is no shame in admitting that my father and my grandfather and all you persons from Bangladesh present here, your father and your grandfather and Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, everybody fought for independence of Pakistan. That's the reality. We were very happy people. We got what we desired, 14th of August 1947. But what we saw after that, within 23 years, Jinnah's Pakistan became a Kabristan for us, a graveyard for us. Jinnah didn't keep his commitment. But then, while planning for Pakistan, Jinnah tried to follow the course of history, but completely forgot the course of geography. A nation with a distance of more than 1,200 miles probably cannot remain a nation. However, happy people of Bangladesh soon came to realize that they have lost everything. We lost everything. We are 56.4% population, and we desired Bengali to be the state language. Jinnah Sahab in Karachi gave a statement that Urdu shall be the state language of Pakistan. And religious leaders came with a fatwa in West Pakistan telling that Urdu is same as Arabic. The haraf, the words are almost similar, and Urdu is the language of Islam. So it should be the state language. They thought Bengalis are very religious people and they will agree with that, but Bengalis didn't agree. They took away the capital to Karachi. We had the hope that Dhaka will be made into the capital, but they took away the Karachi to a small town, which is a small town. Mainly, the economy was fisheries. Anyway, they made a cabinet out of all West Pakistanis. with many, many requests, they later entered only 2 East Pakistanis into that cabinet. We were losing everything one by one, but yet we wanted to live as a good Pakistani, and the slogan continues, Karenge ya marenge, ladke lenge Pakistan. But then it didn't last very long. One by one, Jinnah's impositions really became a horrific situation for Pakistan. He talked about democracy, but declared himself as the president of the Governor General of Pakistan. He himself took over the charge of the Speaker of the Parliament, made a West Pakistani Liaquat Ali Khan as the Prime Minister. It was a complete domination by him. After his death, they made Khaja Najimuddin as the Governor General, but he was a Urdu-speaking man. He continued his policies. And the first struggle we faced was in 1952, a bloody struggle in which our students were killed for demanding Bengali to be state language. Pakistan intelligence agencies briefed their government that if a large number of students are killed on the 21st February, Ati Falgun, then they will not demand for their rights anymore. They'll stop asking for their right for Bengali to be state language, because it's a very cowardice nation actually. They are very scared all the time, very scared people. But our struggle continued. We again came up with our struggle in 1954, in which we see the rise of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. He was elected as a member of the parliament from Gopalganj, Kotalipara area, defeating Mr. Wahiduz Zaman, a very wealthy Muslim League leader. But in that election, they foiled all the effort Pakistanis by creating riots, Adamji Jute Mill and Kornofuli Paper Mill. And the cabinet was called in to face the parliament, in which Nawab Gurmani and Sher Muhammad Khan said, Fazlul Haq was the chief minister, you are a traitor, you have killed 1,000 laborers in the riot. Entire cabinet was arrested and we lost democracy. They put in a major general to rule as the governor of Bengal. His name was Iskandar Mirza. And our research says he was the 4th generation direct descendant of Mir Zafar Ali Khan, the treacherous general of Ali Burde Khan and Nawab Sirajud-Dowla. However, after that, Bangabandhu's life in jail continued. Then Ayub Khan took over with a martial law and he ruled for 10 years. And Bangabandhu was often in the jail. That became almost his second residence. Ayub Khan gave the election in 1965 on the 3rd of January. He stood on behalf of Convention Muslim League with a rose flower as a symbol. Against him contested Fatima Jinnah, Begum Fatima Jinnah, the younger sister of Mahmud Ali Jinnah. Fatima Jinnah was 70 years old and a prolific speaker, very hardworking lady, a doctor by profession. She came to East Pakistan. She told the same thing his brothers told to Bengali population. I will give you democracy. I'll give you equal rights. I'll give you solvency. Again, Bengali people trusted on Fatima Jinnah. My brothers and sisters, we had gone a long way to get equal rights in Pakistan. If Pakistanis would have given us equal rights, we wouldn't have to go for the war at all in 71. However, at that time, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman gave his best support to Fatima Jinnah. He accompanied her to every nook and corner of Bangladesh. the campaign took place. But in the election, Ayub Khan, with the help of ISI, manipulated the election and Fatima Jinnah lost. My humble study says if Fatima Jinnah would have won, she would have given us equal rights and we didn't have to go for 1971 liberation war. But then it didn't happen. Ayub Khan kept on ruling. And after some time, due to many political situations, he resigned and Yahya Khan took over. And in between, Bangabandhu started preaching his 6 points program. He was in the jail. Yahya Khan came up and called his ISI top officials. I would like to submit one point. Pakistan then and Pakistan now is ruled by their armed forces. And armed forces are deeply advised by their intelligence agencies called ISI. ISI informed and convinced Yahya Khan to give an election telling Sheikh Mujib has no chance of winning. Your friend Bhutto will win with massive majority, at which Yahya Khan agreed. They hold the election, tried every way. A martial law regulation was imposed. ISI was put in control, yet people's victory was achieved and Bangabandhu won a massive majority. And at that time, on the 1st of January 1971, he asked Yahya Khan to hand over power to the people's representative and the parliament session would be held in Dhaka. He was not compromising with Pakistan's rulers. Bhutto Yahya Khan came a number of times, but then that was a useless discussion. On the 15th of January 1971, Yahya Khan went to Karachi. On the 16th, he called for a meeting of his top officials. And he told them that he was very tired and he wanted to go for bird shooting. A very romantic word for a general. On 17th of morning at 6 o'clock, 3 big helicopters took off from Karachi and landed in Larkana, the zamindari of Bhutto. And there they were received by some political leaders. I don't want to go into so many details. And welcome to the palace of Bhutto. There they drank the whole night. We have no problem with that. But he said he's going to go for a bird shooting. There was no discussion about bird shooting. There is a discussion of Bengali shooting actually. That is what we call Larkana conspiracy. Ladies and gentlemen, I joined Pakistan Army to make a quick career. We all belong to lower middle class people at that time. I wanted to be one of them. I learned to speak in Urdu and wanted to be one of them and befriended myself with them. So I came to know many facts and many of their conspiracies in that young age. I'll reflect a part of that in my lecture. In Larkana, they made a complete blueprint of what they are going to do. They decided that they will not hand over power to Sheikh Mujib. Then Punjab elites and the Punjab province will be in a big problem. So they conspired to take reference from their operations in Balochistan, which was very successful, and decided that in the same way, they will send lakhs and lakhs of soldiers into East Pakistan. The soldiers who took part in Baluch operational battalions will be included. The commander of Operation Balochistan, Tikka Khan, will be made the commander in East Pakistan operation. Soldiers will be sent in quietly and they will reach here, make an operation plan, which was Operation Searchlight. And in an opportune moment, they will launch the operation. But to make a deception plan, they will keep Yahya Khan in East Pakistan and Bhutto in East Pakistan, giving a picture that they are conducting dialogue sincerely for transfer of power. But then the father of the nation was a very conscious and a very intelligent person. He came to know about this conspiracy of genocide. He had only two options in front of him. Number one option is to go to Pakistan military rulers and surrender and say, I know about your plan. Please don't kill us. Don't conduct genocide. We'll remain as your servants. My dear friends, in Pakistan's, staying with Pakistanis, I came to know that they address us as Abduls. Abdul means a knocker, knocker means a servant. So he had to become a servant of them and submit and say, we'll not take power from us, from you. Please don't just kill us. He had another option. He believed in the history. He followed the path of history. History says different things. History says, as our Excellency Ambassador Sir also mentioned, that Bengalis are a fighting nation. Their first fight starts with fighting against nature. They fight against cyclones, the floods, and all natural calamities and still survive. And that makes them brave people. And also, they love their land so much. That's the reason they have struggled for hundreds of years against the Pathans, the Baluch, and the British and the Pakistanis for such a long time. So Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib knew that if he can unite the people within a short notice, these people will respond. They will resist any attack on them. So that's the reason he wanted to do, and he called for the massive meeting of 7th of March, keeping in mind the Larkana conspiracy. And if you have heard the speech very carefully, which I did hear 100 times, there is a word there. For more than 5 hours, they made a dialogue to us, but then keep the commitment. For more than 5 hours, there is conspiracy against us and make plans. That's the thing about Larkana conspiracy. So he called people to be united and called people, if they are attacked, to start a guerrilla warfare. And that guerrilla warfare will lead them to victory. Now, this speech of 7th of March, as you all know, is the only speech included in the UNESCO's Memory of the World as one of the finest speeches in the world. And why did it have an international appeal? Let's not forget about that. Firstly, that by this one speech only, he could unite the nation, give them a direction, and he really wanted Pakistanis to listen to him, remain in the path of peace. But if they want to fight the war, we are prepared for it. That's the thing. But by giving this speech, he didn't only address the 1 million people sitting in front of him who are hungry, who are deprived for their rights, and their suffering community, but also addressed the billions of suffering community all over the world by calling them for their own independence, for their rights, to establish their rights. That's the reason the speech is so much well respected internationally. But he didn't actually use the word which we say, let's start fighting. I hereby declare independence. He didn't say that because the leader knew the exact situation in Dhaka city now. Dhaka city had 18 Punjab regiment, 13 Frontier Force regiment, 22 Baluch regiment, 31 field regiment, a company of 3rd Commando Battalion, 20 attack helicopters, 18 aircraft all ready. And ISI had planted their people. If he declares independence, grenades will be thrown all over the field and lakhs of people are going to die. A leader did not want that. So he united the nation and told them that if you are attacked, go for a war. And what he called was for a guerrilla warfare. If you compare the speech, then the things will become very clear. The nation got united under a leader called Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And when the Pakistanis started the genocide, they faced the music. The nation was ready to receive them with whatever they had. Then the resistance started. The guerrilla warfare which he planned for started. Pakistanis had severe problems over here. They are all weapons were actually very useful and suitable for using in the plains of Punjab, in deserts of Balochistan, in the hills of Kashmir and northwest frontier province, but not suitable for lower Gangetic Delta, all water, soft land, and the terrain what you best know. And also, their soldiers were trained in that terrain in Pakistan, didn't know how to swim, did not know how to cross rivers. They used to be scared of water. And in this land, they didn't have any major trainings. So that's the advantage we had tremendously. But we were not outnumbered, but outgunned. We had massive young people who crossed over the border, joined the Mukti Bahini camp. At that time, Indians came with a great help to us. They gave Mukti Bahini weapons and gave us training too. And on 21st of November 1971, Indians and Bangladeshi government, they jointly had an understanding that if Pakistan attacks, then we'll fight the war together. And Pakistan made the same mistake again. On the 2nd of night, 1971, in the month of December, Yahya Khan was in Peshawar to direct the operation himself. He ordered 60 aircraft from Peshawar Air Base to take off and attack 10 airfields inside Pakistan. Exactly the kamikaze type operation, Israeli type operation in which we destroy the enemy's aircraft first. But Indians were clever. They knew that they suspected such thing could happen. They have moved out all their aircraft down to the central India on other places. Only 2 aircrafts were damaged. On that day, Mrs. Indira Gandhi, the Prime Minister of India, declared war against Pakistan. And the war continued and he won victory on 16th of December. War kills human beings. War kills history too, if you don't culture them. After the assassination of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman on 15th of August, history took a backseat. Anti-liberation forces, the military junta, and the collaborators together form government after government and rule this country for many, many years. And we are deprived of even discussing about the life and the heroism and the contribution of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. But history is a flow of justice. It will come in the right time. And the right time was there when our Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina took over the leadership. I would like to tell you something, that you can cut the flowers, but you cannot keep the spring from coming. Bangabandhu was a glorious flower for this country, the father of the nation. He sacrificed his life for this country. But then the flower was killed. But they couldn't keep the spring from coming. Spring has come in the form of her beloved daughter, Sheikh Hasina, the present Prime Minister, and Bangladesh is blooming now with the spring. And that's the thought we always have. But then this war had done so much of damage to us. As the Excellency Ambassador Sir has said, that everything is destroyed. They not only destroyed the bridges and our facilities, roads, and everything, but they tried to kill the fiber of the nation. They killed millions of people in this country. Not only that, they carried out horrendous murder and rape women and children too. And why it will not happen? Because they are motivated, our information says, to rape Bengali women, because in the field of jihad, they said it is admissible that you conduct rape on the woman. And there are those fatwas were given to Pakistani soldiers. We are aware of that. However, we are now an independent nation. and the glory of 71 has to be carried forward by our next generation. Now I will come back to some Bengali discussion, if you allow me. I think there's one professor, sir, who is from Oman, Oman, and he will please pardon me for my speaking little bit Bangla. যুদ্ধ হত্যা করে, নারী হত্যা করে, পুরুষ হত্যা করে, ভালোবাসা হত্যা করে, আর হত্যা করে ইতিহাসকে যদি আমরা ইতিহাস চর্চা না করি। দীর্ঘদিন বাংলাদেশে ইতিহাস চর্চা হয়নি, তাই অনেক তথ্য হারিয়ে গেছে। এখন আমাদের সেসব তথ্য সন্নিবেশিত করে ইতিহাসকে জাগ্রত করতে হবে। আসলে ৭১ ছিল একটা জনযুদ্ধ এবং গণযুদ্ধ। এই জনযুদ্ধের মহানায়ক ছিলেন একজনই, তার নাম বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান। আমরা সবাই তার সৈনিক হিসাবে একত্রে যুদ্ধ করেছি। গ্রামের কৃষক, সাধারণ মানুষ, নারী, শিশু সবাই আমাদের সঙ্গে ছিল। এই জন্যই আমরা বিজয় অর্জন করতে সক্ষম হয়েছি। এটাই আমাদের কথা। আরেকটা কথা বলতে চাই যে আমাদের নতুন প্রজন্মের যারা আপনারা আছেন তাদেরকে, আমরা আপনাদের জন্য একটা দেশ স্বাধীন করে দিয়েছি, কিন্তু আমাদের সেই স্বাধীনতা এখনো সম্পূর্ণ সূর্য দেখতে পারেনি। আপনাদের অনেক পরিশ্রম করতে হবে সামনে। এই দেশটাকে আরো সুন্দরভাবে গড়ে তুলতে হবে এবং এই দেশের উপরে অত্যাচার অবিচার হয়েছে সবগুলো দলিলবদ্ধ করতে হবে। যুদ্ধ অপরাধীদের বিচার সম্পূর্ণ করতে হবে এবং পাকিস্তান should be forced to admit war guilt and compensate for their criminology in this country and apologize unconditionally not only to Bangladesh but to the world community for what they did in 1971. And finally, they must try all their war criminals which Mr. Bhutto committed in the Simla conference and Delhi conference, that he will try every of the Pakistani war criminals and perpetrators of genocide. That should be done. পরিশেষে আমি বাংলায় বলতে চাই, চলুন আমরা চেতনা জাগ্রত করি, বিবেককে জাগ্রত করি, ঘুমন্ত আত্মাকে জাগ্রত করি এবং ইতিহাসের মুখোমুখি হই। ইতিহাস হচ্ছে বঙ্গবন্ধুর জীবনের ইতিহাস, মুক্তিযুদ্ধের ইতিহাস, বঙ্গবন্ধুর আত্মত্যাগের ইতিহাস, তার পরিবারের হত্যার ইতিহাস, জাতীয় নেতাদের হত্যার ইতিহাস, আমাদের মুক্তিযুদ্ধের ইতিহাস, ৩০ লক্ষ শহীদের ইতিহাস, ৫ লক্ষ নারী নির্যাতনের ইতিহাস এবং শিশু হত্যার ইতিহাস। এইসব ইতিহাস সংরক্ষণ করি, সবাই একত্রে সবাই মিলে একটা ভালো দেশ গড়ে তুলি, যার স্বপ্ন দেখেছিলেন জাতির পিতা বঙ্গবন্ধু শেখ মুজিবুর রহমান। যুদ্ধ শেষ হয়ে গেছে, কিন্তু এখন আমাদের যুদ্ধ চলবে দেশটাকে সুন্দরভাবে গড়ে তোলার, আরো সুন্দরভাবে সমৃদ্ধশালী দেশ গড়ে তোলার। কারণ যে জাতি এত আত্মত্যাগের মাধ্যমে একটা স্বাধীনতা অর্জন করে, তাদের জন্য মিডিওক্রেসি কোনো ফর্মুলেশন না, তাদের জন্য বিশ্বের দরবারে মাথা তুলে দাঁড়ানো দরকার। আমরা যেন বিশ্বের শ্রেষ্ঠ জাতির মধ্যে একটা জাতি হতে পারি। এই কথা বললে হয়তো আজকে অনেকে বলবে এটা সম্ভব না, এটা সম্ভব। কারণ আমার যখন জন্ম হয়েছিল, আমি যখন শিশু বয়স ছিলাম, আমি জীবনে চিন্তা করিনি আমরা স্বাধীন দেশের নাগরিক হতে পারবো। আজকে আমরা হলাম, তাই আমাদের মাথা নিচু করে চলবে না, মাথা উঁচু করে তুলতে হবে এবং দেশটাকে ভালোবাসতে হবে, সুন্দরভাবে গড়ে তুলতে হবে। এ বলে আমি যারা আজকে অর্গানাইজার আছেন তাদের প্রত্যেককে আমাকে কথা বলার জন্য, সুযোগ দেওয়ার জন্য আমি কৃতজ্ঞতা প্রকাশ করছি। যারা আমার কথাগুলি শুনেছেন প্রত্যেককে আমি ধন্যবাদ জ্ঞাপন করছি। জয় বাংলা, জয় বঙ্গবন্ধু। ধন্যবাদ সবাইকে। আসসালামু আলাইকুম।
Thank you very much, sir. If we want to make Bangladesh a developed country, sir, you have rightly said that we must start from the beginning. We must go back to our roots, to our history of struggle for freedom and economic emancipation. And without knowing Bangabandhu, one cannot claim to have known Bangladesh. Thank you once again, sir, for your elaborate and inspiring discussion on the life of Bangabandhu and the history of our liberation war, and also for your enlightening words from your personal experiences. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, now we'll move to our second speaker. Our second speaker today is Professor S.M. Mujibur Rahman. Professor S.M. Mujibur Rahman is very dear to the embassy, as we have always received his generous support and participation in our every effort. Professor Rahman teaches physics at Sultan Qaboos University of Oman. Along with his academic feats, his patriotism and his consciousness about political history of Bangladesh have also fascinated us. We are blessed to have him once again on this occasion. I now request Professor S.M. Mujibur Rahman to take the floor. Sir.
Thank you, Moshumi. Do you hear me? Hello?
Sir, we can hear you.
All right, okay, thank you. Now, Your Excellency, Honorable Ambassador Mizanur Rahman, Head of Chancery Mr. Nahid Islam, now Moshumi Rahman, and then other officials of the Bangladesh Embassy in Oman, and particularly our chief guest today, Colonel Qazi Zohir Bir Pratik, special guests and respected participants and audience. Salam alaikum and good evening to all of you. Moshami already mentioned of my identity. In fact, I joined the Dhaka University in 1974 as a junior lecturer, continued until 1989. And then I went to Oman and worked there for almost 31 years. So my affiliation is proudly with the Dhaka University and with the Sultan Qaboos University in Oman. Now, we are celebrating the Golden Jubilee of Bangladesh with a great enthusiasm, respect, joy, and sadness in another hand. And just now, Colonel Qazi Zohir mentioned of some points of why we are also sad when we have this jubilation in Bangladesh everywhere. Now, the topic of the day is Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and the independence of Bangladesh, the greatest Bengali over the last 1,000 years. BBC survey about 15 years back just mentioned and then pronounced that a great sort of what I call the title to our greatest leader as the greatest Bengali, followed by Rabindranath Tagore as the second one. So now our event of the day is Mujib Year and the Golden Jubilee of the independence of Bangladesh. It has got a very big sort of canvas, and I've been very happy that a person like Colonel Zohir is engaged himself to write the history with few other, not many actually, some other people. Now, before I start my sort of brief discussion or lecture, whatever you call, on this day, I express my greatest respect to the father of the nation, his family members, the 4 leaders who were killed brutally in 1975. I express my gratitude to those who fought for Bangladesh and particularly to those who sacrificed their lives for our beloved land. That is, these points are touched by Colonel Zohir in the meantime. Now, coming back to the theme of today's webinar, I shared a few aspects with you. Already some of the points were raised by Colonel Zohir. Now, independence of Bangladesh, and then if you look at the history, he mentioned the brief history of the creation of Bangladesh and the division of India in a very lucid way. Now, division of India in 1947, and then initiated this independence, in my opinion, and opinion of many, that initiated by the language movement in 1952, where our young people protested and then said, no, no, no. And that no created a big impulse and momentum in the history of Bangladesh. That is what I believe in. And then that was progressed in 1957 election when the Jukta Front, I mean, mainly then East Pakistan sort of political parties, combination of parties, had the landslide victory. That was another blow to the creation of Pakistan, the theme of Pakistan. It didn't work. And then Colonel Jahir mentioned already why it did not work, and then we also know why it did not work. It further progressed when the 6-point movement was initiated in 1966, I believe 1966, if I am not wrong, by Awami League, led by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujib. And then it took the final shape. When I say took the final shape, I'm talking about independence. It took the final shape in 1970 election with landslide victory of Awami League, again led by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur. Independence war started the full swing immediately after the, in my opinion, after the 7th March speech by Bangabandhu. Declaration of independence, it was already there. As Colonel Jahir said, he did not say that I declared the war today. And knowingly, he did not do it. But in the background, it was there, the declaration of war. Now, I have some few sort of chronology when I look at the period of independence starting 1971. In fact, first of all, I was possibly one of that 1 million people who attended and participated there in the 1 million strong meeting or speech by Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. And Colonel Jahir already mentioned the domain of the people who participated there. There were starving peasants there, starting from the starving peasants, and then all walks of life, middle class, and so on. So in a way, that 1 million was not 1 million. That was entire 7 crore people of Bangladesh. That is my opinion. And then, to be honest, as a physics student and then a teacher at the Dhaka University and the Sultan Qaboos University, I read about 4 or 5 historical pieces by the world leaders, starting from Abraham Lincoln to contemporary Nelson Mandela. With all heartfelt respect and honor to all of them, I feel proud to say that Bangabandhu's one was the greatest by all means. Greatest by all means. It was spontaneous lecture. It was a spontaneous speech. There was no points written on a piece of paper. There was no sort of speech writer's sort of hand on it. It was Bangabandhu who felt whatever he felt spontaneously during that time. In that almost, I exactly don't remember the timing of the speech. It started at about 3:30 or about that time. And it continued for about 25 minutes, I think. If I'm wrong, then Colonel Jahir can correct me. And again, I mentioned that it was so balanced. Army helicopters were there above our heads. And then he had to keep all the balance there. But in the meantime, during his speech, he declared the independence war. Now, to pollute the history of Bangladesh, creation of Bangladesh, there are many people still in Bangladesh who wanted to introduce some other things there. And they failed. And now again, I mentioned that that was one of my greatest sort of prides in my life, that I attended that 7th March speech by Bangabandhu, the greatest son of the soil. And then I can only say that my point can be testified by Colonel Jahir, because I am not a historian, and he can justify some of the points that I mentioned. So just looking at everything, I can only say Jayatu Bangabandhu. And then I have one opinion, very personal opinion, and then it might be shared by many. Like Bangabandhu's domain was, in my opinion, from -infinity to +infinity. Now, Our Honorable Ambassador, His Excellency Mizanur Rahman knows the integration very well, and I know many of you do. Integration sign from minus infinity to plus infinity. And I have an opinion. Within the integration sign, I put Bangabandhu as the variable. And then when I work out the integration, I only find it is Bangladesh. I do not find any other sort of solution for it. Integration from infinity to minus infinity, variable is Bangabandhu, and the result is Bangladesh. That is what I believe in throughout my life. I'm 70 now, possibly 70 plus. Now, I would like to experience some few little things. It could be little to others, but it is quite big for myself. Now, I mention of one character. His name is Anu, possibly Anisuzzaman, but people called him Anu. He was a boatman in Bikrampur, in my region when I was born. And during the liberation wartime, we used to go from one village to another village, collecting money for our freedom fighters, transporting weapons, giving them foods, etc., by using boats only. It was all during August, I think that the July-August time. As you know, that Bikram is a lowland, Bikrampur, and then we had to use the small boats called Karayanoka. And then Anu was our boatman. Few of young people, who, when I was only 20 years old, few of our young people used to transport the weapons and other things to our neighboring villages. And then one day, I asked Anu out of joke. I said, Anu, your one hand is almost paralyzed and you are plying the boat with another hand. What will you do if Bangladesh is liberated? And his answer was very revealing. He said, Rafiq Bhai, my nickname is Rafiq. Rafiq Bhai, I have only one hand. But when this country will be liberated, and if the Bangabandhu called us to build the country, I can make use of my one hand to cut soil, and I will help in building the country. That was the answer from a very commonest of the common man in Bangladesh. Another day, we were going from our village Alampur to Baroikhali, another village, with some weapons. It was raining, and we were trying to find something to shelter ourselves. I found a casket there, Erin Moore casket. You know that Erin Moore, that cigar. Bangabandhu used to have it. And then I asked Anu, have you started taking Erin Moore cigar? He was laughing at me with a sort of eyes what was almost tearing. He said, Rafiq Bhai, I can open the casket to you. He opened the casket to me, and I found that there was a paper cutting with Bangabandhu's photograph there from a paper cutting. He was protecting Bangabandhu from all evils, this Anu, commonest of the common. Then I felt, Bangabandhu, nobody can put you down. Since Anu recognized you, Anu loved you, 7 crore people loved you. That was a very common man. He was a very common man, commonest of the common. And then I mentioned another very emotional point that in 1976, I went to UK with Commonwealth Scholarship for my PhD in the University of Bristol, 76. There was a banquet organized by the House of Lords. Am I taking time, Mosumi? Hello? Am I taking more time?
No, sir. So you can continue, sir.
Okay, so something, just I'm sharing my experience with the other people. Now, what happened on that day, on the day of banquet, Lady or Baroness Robinson, who found a Bangladeshi young man, it was me. I was only 25 years old during that time. He came to me, and it seemed that she was very, very angry in a way. And he came to me and said, Mr. Rahman, why did you kill your great leader? Why did you kill him? If you could not feed him, if you could not find a small place for him in your land, why didn't you push this man, send this man to our small land? A great heart. It was emotional and shame to me. Yes, we killed him. Bangladesh killed him. It was a great shame for me. But the Baroness of the House of Lords expressed her views in that, along that line. And I think many world leaders shared the same feeling. Like I do remember in early 76, when I started writing for a scholarship, then I got a reply from I think that was, I don't exactly remember the name of the university, but Prime University in the USA. One Jewish professor said that if you would not kill Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, then the nation would be one, but now you are almost like a leaderless country, something like that. A Jewish professor. I have many, many examples there. I wrote an article where the article was Bangabandhu and the four, I mentioned 2 or 3 concerning the history from my own opinion. And then actually also Colonel Jahir mentioned how the country became orphan-like thing at a point. But this is a country we should never be orphan. Because again, when I said, I shared the feeling with him that now we have Sheikh Hasina, the Honorable Prime Minister, who is bearing the light. That is what I always mention to many people, that Bangabandhu was the light, the sun on our head. And many people, and still many people in the country, want to block the sun or the shading the sun, light of the Bangabandhu. One could not do that. And I mentioned to people, possibly some people are listening to me, don't do it. You cannot stop the sun. You cannot stop the sun, the brightness of the sun. It will shine. It will shine not only over the head of Bangladesh, over this small land, but it will shade over the depressed, suppressed, and terminal people of the whole world. Because when he gave his very many speeches after the independence, he did not only mention of Bangladesh, he mentioned of the world where there is people who wanted to have independence, who wanted to get rid of sufferings, poverty, etc. He spoke about all. And then it is a great sort of time that, and also I feel that it is also I should not say it is a sort of transition time, but it is a time we should preserve this time, because under the leadership of Sheikh Hasina, the country is progressing. The country is progressing. It is not going back. In the meantime, many people wanted to delete the history altogether. Colonel Zohair also mentioned that altogether. They could not do that. History is very cruel. One cannot delete it. So therefore, by the end of my lecture, I can only say that we are proud in having a leader like Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, who are shining above our head like a sun, bright sun. And then I would like to, lastly, I'd like to mention that Bangabandhu was a very simple man, very, very simple man. If you, some of you visit his house in Dhanmondi, you will see the house is just like any house in middle class family. If you go to see his bedroom, there is a big bed there. My understanding is that he had children. He used to sit there with Bangamata Begum Mujib and the children there. That was pretty big. So don't forget that he evolved from a very simple life and he became a world leader in a way. And then again, I should say to those people, there are two types of people. Again, I must say, one always want to block the light coming from Bangabandhu. Don't do it. You cannot do that. You cannot do that. Another one I do not want to mention here, that becomes quite political, like using the, but still I should mention as a teacher because I cannot hide it. Still there are people holding the banner of Bangabandhu and Sheikh Hasina. But behind these two great statesmen, they are not, many of them are not doing a good job. Actually, they are not doing a good job. I remind them, don't do it. If you do it, holding the banners of Bangabandhu and Sheikh Hasina, and you satisfy your ill intention in terms of finance, money, land grabbing, etc. Don't do it. Don't do it. That is not the teaching from Bangabandhu. That is not teaching from, I believe, all the Awami Leaguers. There are some people who will take the chance. But again, আমি আমার বাংলা একটু শেষকালে বলে দিই। ইতিহাসের পানি ধরে রাখতে পারে না, এটা গড়াইতে থাকে এবং একটা জায়গাতে আসে, তখন আমরা ইতিহাসের বুঝতে পারি। It took almost 50 years now to realize Bangabandhu was our greatest leader, and his blood, Sheikh Hasina, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, is now leading the country with the spirit that she had from our beloved leader. আমি সবাইকে আবার ধন্যবাদ দেই। অ্যাম্বাসেডর মিজানুর রহমান, আমার একটা স্পেশাল একটা রিলেশনশিপ আছে, তার সাথে আমি বলছি না আজকে। তারপরে আমি এমবাসির সাথে সবসময় যেতে পারিনি মাস্কাট থাকাকালীন, বিকজ দেশের বছরগুলোতে আমি কিছুটা অসুস্থ ঠিক না, একটু কেয়ারফুলি থাকতে হতো আমাকে। যাই হোক, 70-এ আমি রিটায়ারমেন্ট নিয়ে আসছি ওখান থেকে। পারি চেষ্টা করব কিছু লেখার জন্য, আমার কথা। আর সবাই আপনারা ভালো থাকেন, আমার প্রত্যাশা। এমবিসি মানুষের জন্য কাজ করুক, সেখানে প্রায় আমি যদি ভুল না হয় আমার 1 মিলিয়ন বোধহয় বাংলাদেশি হবে এখন। বিশাল বোঝা অ্যাম্বাসেডরের হাতে, মৌসুমী রহমানের হাতেও আছে, নাহিদের হাতে আছে, আনোয়ারের হাতে আছে। আমি সবাইকে অত্যন্ত স্নেহ করি আমি। সুতরাং এই ভারটুকু নিতে হবে। সাধারণ মানুষ একেবারে তৃণমূল পর্যায়ের মানুষেরা, একেবারে তৃণমূল পর্যায়ের মানুষ, তারা তাদের জায়গা থাকে না অনেক সময়। এমবিসি যাতে এই কাজটুকু করে, এমবিসির ওই বাংলাদেশিদের সাহায্য করা মানে সারা বাংলাদেশকে সাহায্য করা। এটুকু বলে আমি শেষ করি। সবাইকে আবার আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাই, অ্যাম্বাসেডর মিজানুর রহমান, আর এখানে সাজ্জাদ জহিরের বই যদি আমি পাই আমি পড়বো, কারণ আমি ফিজিক্সই পড়ি না, শুধু পড়তে চেষ্টা করি ইতিহাস। কারণ এখানে আমি একটা জিনিস দেখাই, যেটা এই বইটুকুও আমি সবাইকে পড়তে বলবো। এই বইটুকু সবাইকে আমি পড়তে বলবো, অনুরোধ করবো আপনারা পড়ুন। একজন মহান মানুষ কথাগুলো কিভাবে লিখে গেছেন, and shaping of বাংলাদেশ। এটা বলতে একটু অত্যুক্তি হবে, কিন্তু কি হয়েছে এটা পড়বেন সবাই। নাম হলো অসমাপ্ত আত্মজীবনী, পড়ার কোনো বিকল্প নাই। সবাইকে ধন্যবাদ জানাই, সবাই ভালো থাকবেন।
Thank you, sir. Our heartfelt thanks once again to you, sir, for your kind presence, inspiring speech and comments, and for sharing your personal experiences and some anecdotes. Sir, as you have described, history of Bangladesh has always been a struggle against oppression by mass people. Bangabandhu is the greatest leader of all time because he heard the urge of his people as no other leader had ever heard. Thank you, sir. We wish you all the best.
Thank you very much.
Distinguished guests, the history of Bangladesh would have been very different. Our struggle would have been much tougher if we hadn't received the timely help from our biggest friend and neighbor, India. During the 9-month-long war, the people and the government of India provided shelter for 10 million refugees after the crackdown, provided our freedom fighters with arms, ammunition, supplies, and training. And when finally the war was won, they helped us rebuilding. We are forever grateful for their generosity. Ladies and gentlemen, we are very glad today that we have got a representative from this great nation as our next speaker, Professor Purushottam Chakraborty. He is an eminent nuclear physicist. Let us hear from Professor Chakraborty, sir.
Okay. Am I audible to everybody?
Sir, yes, you are.
Can I start now?
Yes, sir. Please, sir.
Okay. Mr. Mizanur Rahman, the ambassador, Embassy of Bangladesh, Muscat, Colonel Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahir, Professor S.M. Mujibur Rahman, Professor Mohammed Saad Al Muqaddam, Mausumi Rahman. Good evening, all dignitaries and all dignified guests present here. I do express my deep sense of gratitude and thanks to the Embassy of Bangladesh, Muscat, for giving me the opportunity of participating in this great webinar to celebrate the Mujib year and the golden jubilee of the independence of Bangladesh. I indeed feel greatly honored to have been invited by the Embassy of Bangladesh, Muscat, to participate in this webinar and to say a few words. Truly speaking, I'm an Indian by birth and a Bengali by heart. Half of my heart remains in India and half of my heart remains in Bangladesh. I'm for all times emotionally attached to Bangladesh formerly a part of the United Bengal called the East Bengal, the home and motherland of my ancestors, my father, my uncles, my mother, my maternal uncles, and my everyone. Therefore, to say anything about Bangladesh is my esteemed honor, my privilege, my emotion, my sentiment, and my excitement. I traveled to Bangladesh a number of times, and I never felt I'm in another country. I felt I'm in West Bengal, because these two parts of Bengal are very, very indistinguishable. And Bengalis are indistinguishable, and these two parts of Bengal are indistinguishable. My father never accepted this East Bengal will be another country. My uncle never accepted that the Bengal will be divided. So anyway, we have to accept the history. So that is another thing, what I am not knowledgeable about it. But only I can remember all the time, the pains that my father, my mother, and everybody bared all over all their lives, that they have lost their motherlands. Recently, the Gandhi Peace Prize has been conferred to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, posthumously, of course, as a token of honor to one of the greatest leaders of the world. And Gandhiji is recognized as a father of the nation in India, and Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman is recognized as a father of the nation of Bangladesh. So it is very justified that Gandhi Peace Prize has been conferred to Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman by the Indian government. Bangabandhu's vision continues to enlighten and strengthen the India-Bangladesh friendship. Bangabandhu completed his intermediate of arts from Calcutta Islamia College. Now it's Maulana Azad College of Calcutta, which is next to the Presidency College of Calcutta. In 1944, and he did his graduation, Bachelor of Arts with Law and Political Science, again from the same Islamia College, Calcutta. So he spent at a stretch more than 5 years from 1942 to 1947, more or less, in Kolkata. I feel immensely proud that Bangabandhu studied in the same university where I did my graduation, did my post-graduation, and I did my doctorate, all from the University of Calcutta. I also feel proud to know that Bangabandhu took part in Indian freedom movement for a while. In 1947, India became independent, and disgracefully, the east part of Bengal went into Pakistan, renamed as East Pakistan. In 1949, Bangabandhu joined the Awami League, a political party which advocated for the greater autonomy for East Pakistan, the detached part of eastern part of Pakistan. The Bangladesh Liberation War, or the Mukti Juddho, was a revolutionary independence war in the South Asia during 1971, which established the Republic of Bangladesh. The war potholed East Pakistan against West Pakistan and lasted over a duration of 9 months. It witnessed a large-scale atrocities, the exodus of 10 million refugees, and the indiscriminate killing of 3 million people. The war broke out on 26th of March in 1971. The Pakistan army, in collusion with the religious extremist armed forces, engaged in the systematic genocide and atrocities of Bengali civilians, particularly nationalists, intellectuals, youth, and religious minorities. Bangladesh government in exile was set up in the city of Calcutta in the Indian state of West Bengal. India entered into the war on 3rd of December 1971 after Pakistan launched preemptive air strikes on northern India. Overwhelmed by the two war fronts, Pakistani defenses soon got collapsed. On 16th of December 1971, the allied forces of Bangladesh and India defeated Pakistan. India, led by the then Prime Minister Mrs. Indira Gandhi, provided substantial diplomatic, economic, and military supports to Bangladeshi nationalists. It was a great enthusiasm within the hearts of millions of Indians, I would say billions of Indians and Bengalis across the globe during the time of Mukti Juddha. I remember the entire city of Calcutta was flooded with the pictures, posters, and calendars of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. There was not a single house left in West Bengal where there was not a photo of Mujibur Rahman found. In every house of Calcutta, there was a picture of Mujibur Rahman. His inflammatory speech in thunderbolt voice, "Amare keu dabai rakhte parba na," was reverberating in the air, creating an ambience of a dashing sensation of patriotism amongst the students and intellectuals of Kolkata. Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman's historic speech delivered at the Brigade Parade Ground of Calcutta on the February 6, 1972, was significant, one in the history of Bengali nation. I quote the Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina of Bangladesh, daughter of Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, quote, "In one hand, India gave shelter, food, and all other essentials to nearly 1 crore people of Bangladesh during the liberation war. On the other hand, hundreds of Indian soldiers embraced martyrdom for the independence of Bangladesh. That's why the friendship between the two countries has been written in blood letters," unquote. We believe the friendly ties between these two neighboring countries would remain forever, would be further strengthened in the coming days. We, the Bengalis of this part of Bengal, West Bengal, do express our humble respect and sincere gratitude to Bangladesh for establishing our mother language, Bangla, as one of the most prominent languages in the international arena. We are proud and we feel our honor. We feel our gratitude to Bangladesh. The vision that Sheikh Mujibur Rahman cherished in his mind is blossoming day by day. We feel proud for the noticeable progress and prosperity of today's Bangladesh. In every sphere of life, Bangladesh is not only our closest neighbor, it's also our closest friend. We have a great love for the Bangladesh. We have let the society of Bangladesh thrive with free thinking, humanity, and above all, the divinity. At the end, I quote Rabindranath Tagore, which is relevant as far as the dreams of Sheikh Mujibur Rahman are concerned, where the mind is without fear and the head is held high, where knowledge is free, where the world has not been broken up into fragments by narrow domestic walls, where the words come out from the depth of truth, where tireless striving stretch the arms towards perfection, where the clear stream of reason has not lost its way into the desert sand of dead habits, where the mind is led forward by thee into ever-widening thought of action, into that heaven of freedom. My Father, let my country awake. Thank you very much for your patient hearing. আমি শেষে একটু বাংলায় বলি। বাংলাদেশ আমার প্রাণের দেশ। আমার কাছে কোনো কিছু বলা বাংলাদেশ সম্পর্কে আমার কাছে একটা ভয়ঙ্কর সেন্টিমেন্ট। আমি যে কবার বাংলাদেশে গিয়েছি আমার একবারও মনে হয়নি যে আমি পশ্চিমবঙ্গে নেই। আমি আবার বলছি, কেন যে জায়গাটা আলাদা হয়ে গেল, আমার বাবা চিরকাল চোখ থেকে বাবার জল বেরিয়েছে, চোখ থেকে জল পড়েছে, আমার কাকার চোখ থেকে জল পড়েছে। এই দুঃখটা আমারও আমি কোনোদিনই বাংলাদেশে জন্মাইনি, আমার জন্ম কলকাতায়, কিন্তু বাবাদের দুঃখ, আমার মাদের দুঃখটা আমার ভেতরে এখনো যেন ব্যথার মতো হয়ে আছে। কারণ বাবাদের মাদারল্যান্ডটা তো ওখানে বরিশালে। আমি একটা সংক্ষেপে কথা বলি, আমার ভীষণ ইচ্ছে ছিল আমি একটু বাবার পিতৃভূমিটা দেখবো। তা আমি, আমার ইয়ারটা এক্স্যাক্টলি মনে নেই, আমি বুয়েটে, বাংলাদেশ ইউনিভার্সিটি অফ ইঞ্জিনিয়ারিং অ্যান্ড টেকনোলজি, বুয়েটে আমাকে ইনভাইট করেছিল একটা টক দেওয়ার জন্য। ইনফ্যাক্ট আই গেভ এ প্লেনারি টক, ইনফ্যাক্ট আই গেভ এ কিনোট অ্যাড্রেস at an international conference on material science organized by the BUET, Metallurgical Engineering Department of BUET. আমার মনে আছে অনেক জ্ঞানী গুণী লোকেরা এসেছিলেন বাংলাদেশের ঢাকা ইউনিভার্সিটির এবং অনেক চট্টগ্রাম ইউনিভার্সিটি এবং অনেক জায়গায়, এবং কলকাতা থেকে আমি একাই গিয়েছিলাম এবং ইন্ডিয়া থেকে আমি একাই গিয়েছিলাম। আমি আমার অনেক ইমোশনের কথা সেখানেও বলেছিলাম। তা আমি সেখান থেকে আমার কনফারেন্সের পরে আমার ইচ্ছে হয়েছিল যে আমি একটু অল্প অন্তত দুদিনের জন্য আমি একটু বরিশালে ভ্রমণ করব। আমি সেখানে গিয়েছিলাম। সেখান থেকে ঢাকা থেকে আমি একটু কুমিল্লা গিয়েছিলাম, কুমিল্লা থেকে চট্টগ্রাম গেছিলাম, কারণ চট্টগ্রামে আমার এক পরিচিত মানুষ থাকেন, তিনি বাংলাদেশের খুব বিদগ্ধ ব্যক্তি, তিনি বিকিরণ প্রসাদ বড়ুয়া। তিনি বাংলাদেশের বুদ্ধিস্ট কমিউনিটির খুব একজন অত্যন্ত নামকরা মানুষ। তিনি গত বছর 21-এ পদক পেয়েছেন। তা তিনি বিকিরণ দা আমার অত্যন্ত পরিচিত, তিনি আমাদের ইনস্টিটিউট অফ নিউক্লিয়ার ফিজিক্স থেকে পিএইচডি করেছেন, তাই তার সঙ্গে আমার একটা সম্পর্ক এখনো আছে। তিনি আমাকে বলেছিলেন যে তুমি তো বাংলাদেশে এসছো, অবশ্যই তুমি একবার আমার এখানে ভিজিট করো। তা আমি সেখানে একদিনের জন্য গিয়েছিলাম। সেখান থেকে পরের দিন আমি চাঁদপুর হয়ে আমি বরিশালে গিয়েছিলাম। আমি একদম একা, কিচ্ছু চিনি না বরিশালের। আমি একদম বরিশালে চাঁদপুর থেকে একটা বিশাল মোটর লঞ্চে করে আমি বরিশালে গিয়েছিলাম। তখন রাত্রির প্রায় 2-2:30 হবে। বরিশাল সদরঘাটে নেমেছিলাম। আমি কাউকে চিনি না এবং বাবাদের পিতৃভূমিটা যে কোথায় তাও আমি জানি না, শুধুমাত্র নামটা জানি। তা আমি পরের দিন বরিশাল টাউনে, শুধু আমি জানি আমার মামির বাবা ছিলেন বরিশাল মিউনিসিপ্যালিটির চেয়ারম্যান বরদাকান্ত ব্যানার্জি। তার নামটা হয়তো এখনো কেউ জানলেও জানতে পারে, এই একটা আশা নিয়ে আমি বরিশাল টাউনে গিয়েছিলাম। আমি বরিশাল টাউনে গিয়ে পরের দিন সকালে বরিশাল সদরঘাটে, বরিশাল টাউনের যে মিউনিসিপ্যালিটি, সেখানে স্ট্রেট চলে গেলাম। সেখানকার তখনকার যিনি মিউনিসিপ্যালিটির চেয়ারম্যান, তার সাথে গিয়ে মিট করলাম এবং মিট করে গিয়ে আমি বললাম যে এরকম অনেক বছর আগে এই একই মিউনিসিপ্যালিটির চেয়ারম্যান ছিলেন আমার এক দাদু সম্পর্কে, তিনি হচ্ছেন বরদাকান্ত ব্যানার্জি, তাকে কি আপনি চিনবেন? তিনি বললেন যে আচ্ছা এই ছবিটা কি দেখুন তো। আমরা ছবি দেখেও চিনতে পারবো না, এই দেখুন এখানে সমস্ত ওই চেয়ারম্যানদের ছবি বাঁধানো আছে, আপনি আইডেন্টিফাই করতে পারেন কি কোনটা আপনার দাদুর ছবি? তা আমি সত্যি করে আইডেন্টিফাই করতে পারিনি, কিন্তু নামটা যেহেতু লেখা ছিল বরদাকান্ত বন্দ্যোপাধ্যায়, বরদাকান্ত ব্যানার্জি, আমি আইডেন্টিফাই সেভাবে করতে পেরেছিলাম এইভাবে। তো সেখান থেকে আমাকে বললাম যে আচ্ছা মিস্টার ইকবাল, ওনার নাম মিস্টার ইকবাল, আমার নামটা পুরোটা মনে নেই। বললাম যে আমি একটু আমার বাবার পিতৃভূমিটা দেখতে চাই। সেটা কোথায়? বললাম ঝালকাঠিতে বাদলকাঠি গ্রামে, আমি কি সেখানে যেতে পারবো? তখন উনি বললেন যে আচ্ছা আমি একটু খবরটা নিয়ে নিই, আপনাকে পরের দিন বলবো। তো পরের দিন আমাকে উনি অনেক হেল্প করেছিলেন, আমাকে একটা গাড়ি ব্যবস্থা করে দিয়েছিলেন এবং সেই মিউনিসিপ্যালিটির গাড়ি করে আমি একদম বরিশাল শহর থেকে অনেক নদী নালা পেরিয়ে আমি সেই গ্রাম ঝালকাঠির বাদলকাঠি গ্রামে পৌঁছেছিলাম। যদিও গাড়ি যায় না, অনেক একটা অবধি গাড়ি গিয়েছিল, তারপর থেকে আর গাড়ি যায়নি। সেই ইন্টেরিয়ার গ্রাম, সে ভয়ঙ্কর ইন্টেরিয়ার, সেখানে মানুষ ঢুকতে পারে না, এত ইন্টেরিয়ার। সেই ইন্টেরিয়ার গ্রামে একটা নদীও পেরোতে হলো একটা প্র্যাকটিক্যালি বাসের উপর দিয়ে, যেটা আমি অভ্যস্ত নই, অনেক কষ্ট করেই পার হয়েছিলাম। সেখানে গিয়ে আমার বাবার পিতৃভূমিটা আমি দেখে এসেছিলাম। তা এক ঐতিহাসিক অভিজ্ঞতা। আমি এটা লিখেওছি, এটা বাংলাদেশের একটা পত্রিকায় প্রকাশিত হয়েছে, কয়েক মাস আগে দৈনিক বাংলাদেশের আলো পত্রিকাতে প্রকাশিত হয়েছে। তা ইত্যাদি এই আর কি বলতে চাই, যেটা যে বাংলাদেশ সম্পর্কে কিছু বলার সুযোগ পেয়েছি আজকে, তাই এতগুলো কথা আমি বললাম। আমি ভীষণ আন্তরিকভাবে আমি কৃতজ্ঞ সবার প্রতি, এবং আমার অত্যন্ত ঘনিষ্ঠ এবং অত্যন্ত শ্রদ্ধার ব্যক্তি প্রফেসর মুজিবুর রহমান, আমি যাকে মুজিব দা বলি, আমার মুজিব দাকে অনেক অনেক ধন্যবাদ, যিনি প্রপোজ করেছেন আমাকে এখানে এই বক্তৃতাটা দেবার জন্য। আমি তাকে আমার আন্তরিক কৃতজ্ঞতা জানাই, এবং আমি সবাইকে আবার আমার শুভেচ্ছা, আন্তরিক কৃতজ্ঞতা এবং প্রণাম জানাচ্ছি। সবাই ভালো থাকবেন, এবং আমি এই বলে সবাইকে শেষ করলাম। সবাই খুব সুস্থ থাকবেন, ভালো থাকবেন। নমস্কার।
Thank you, Professor Chakraborty, for your emotional speech. We are very touched by your speech and for telling us about our father of the nation from a different vantage point, from the other side of the border. You rightly pointed out that Bangabandhu not only dreamed of the freedom of Bangladesh, he also dreamed of a regional and stable South Asia, regionally peaceful and stable South Asia. He believed in India-Bangladesh friendship. So let us all uphold this spirit. Thank you very much, sir. Our next speaker, ladies and gentlemen, is an expert of history, Professor Muhammad Saad Al-Muqaddam. He is a renowned historian and professor of history. He is currently teaching in the Sultan Qaboos University of Oman. I am sure that, like me, you all are eagerly waiting to know how this veteran history professor sees the events of our war of liberation and the leadership of our father of the nation. I request Professor Saad Al-Muqaddam to take the floor.
Thank you, Ms. Muslim. Thank you so much. I'm really honored and delighted to join this wonderful and distinguished panel. First, I have to say thank you to His Excellency Ambassador Jan Rahman and the staff of Bangladesh Embassy in Muscat to participate in this interesting panel about the father of the nation, Mujib al-Rahman, Sheikh Mujib al-Rahman. So it is my great pleasure and to join this distinguished Colonel Sajid Ali, Professor Mujib al-Rahman from Sultan Qaboos University, and Professor Mushram from India Institution. So this is great for me to learn more about our brothers nation of Bangladesh. I had really a wonderful and great friendship with the people of Bangladesh and Oman. So I have been interested about Bangladesh. So today I'm learning too much about the real issue of Bangladesh and the independent and the war for the independent, and especially Mujib al-Rahman, the founder of this nation. So when we said in a history, you have to learn from the history. If you see the history of Mujib al-Rahman from the 40s and the 50s and the 70s, and and when he introduced, for example, 6th point about the autonomy, he asked for the autonomy, not to separate Bangladesh from the west of Pakistan. I will return a little bit to the history. When Oman submitted to the Islam during the Prophet Muhammad sallallahu alaihi wasallam, he sent the messengers. Then he kept the king of Oman to rule Oman, even though the tax be to the Omani, so we have autonomy. And if you see the political struggle of Bangladesh people, they want autonomy, they want It is like a local government and the right of the Bengal people. So very sorry to see this process was not complete. And if we see even in the election 1970, when the Awami League win the majority in the election and they're supposed to form a government, so they were not allowed to form a government. So always about the right, recognition of the right of the ethnic groups. If I want to talk about the long history of America independent war, because over the taxation issue, they lead to the American independence. The recognition of the people right. So this is the reality. We are all Muslim, but we have the right to rule my hometown, to practice my right. So this is the ethnic question in the conflict between the West and the East of Bangladesh, Pakistan. So we saw the process, how the Bengali people participated in the new nation in the Indian continental, how they've been a part of Pakistan. But the question of the right, this is the problem of understanding. And we're gonna to see how you believe in a history. So if we see the personality of the founder father, Sheikh Mujib Rahman, we see the history of the nation. If you see how long he's been in the prison, how many fights, how he never changed, and his dream to build Bengali nation. So at the end, we see these dreams became real. The dream, as they said, never die of the people. So from the history point of view, we have to recognize the right of the communities, of the ethnic groups to be equal, to share the same. So this is a good lesson from Bangladesh. The Bangladesh, from my point of view, they don't like to be separate from the West of Pakistan. But if you see since 1947, we see how the Bengals, about the language, about the autonomy, about the equality, too many issues being debated. And Sheikh Mujib Rahman, rahmatullahu alayhi, he fought for the people of Bengal. So at the end of this drama and the conflict, he won. And you have the new nation. It's not new, but we have the Republic of Bangladesh with the fourth population of the Islamic world. And for the Omani, we have a good relation with Bangladesh. We are brothers, we have similarity. Also, this is a special relation. We have a large community in Oman sharing with Omani development. If you see in Oman, we started a Renaissance in 1970 and you started your independence in 1971. So this is lesson in history. If you are not understand the other people right and recognition. So if you see the history in the history of the world, we have too many wars because of the recognition. You don't recognize other people right. If you see the First World War, the Second World War, the Cold War, whatever the wars, But Bangladesh, with the leadership of Mujib Abdul Rahman, they fought very strong to have their independence. And we see the liberation of war, and we see the new nation of Bangladesh. Well, this is, they have their right to establish their nation. If you see the theory of the nation also, so Sheikh Mujib, now Bangladesh, they celebrate 100 years. Thank you for the ambassador. I got the memoir and finished the memoir of Mujib Rahman. So I started to read. So I learned a lot really from the story of independence of Bangladesh. So I hope this lesson and this new nation with the experience to be taught, in fact, in some schools, in the Arab nation or in the Islamic universities. So this is, to understand the role of Sheikh Mujib al-Rahman to establish the new Bangladesh nation. And this Bangladesh nation, when I read the long history and the connection between the Islam and the Bangladesh, very beautiful history. And now with this continuation of the friendship between Oman and Bangladesh and the Islamic world. So this is a very interesting story of Sheikh Mujib al-Rahman, how he fought and won the independence of Bangladesh nation. So I am really, really proud to be with your group tonight. I learned a lot. I hope to continue also my learning about Bangladesh too. And when they ending their talk in Bengali, I want to talk into Arabic, one word, two word. أنا سعيد جدا جدا أن أكون معكم. أتمنى لشعب بنغلاديش التقدم والازدهار تحت حكم الشيخة حسينة. نتمنى للعلاقة الطيبة بين الهند وعمان الاستمرار في ظل القيادتين. And all the best to the Bangladesh people and the prosperity. And shukran, many thanks to get this opportunity to be part of this distinguished group. Thanks a lot. Shukran.
Thank you, Professor Muqaddam, sir, for your valuable time and your amazing speech. Bangladesh and Oman, the two countries hold similar norms and values. And we hope that the relations between our two countries will expand in the future and the two countries will work closely together to achieve the development goals and global peace. Thank you very much, sir, for your kind presence and words. And now we almost reached to our last segment. Now we will be hearing from our last speaker, Ambassador Mashfi Binte Shams. Ambassador Shams is now serving in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs of Bangladesh as Secretary. She is looking after our bilateral relations with all the countries in Asia and Africa. Earlier, she was our ambassador to Nepal. She is one of the most inspiring ladies in the Bangladesh Foreign Service. I would like to request Ambassador Madam to say a few words. Madam.
Thank you, Moshami, for your very nice words. So let me begin. Excellency, Ambassador Mizanur Rahman, Ambassador of Bangladesh to Oman, our very respected Colonel Sajjad Zahir, Bir Pratik, chief guest of today's program, distinguished speakers, distinguished guests, Omane বসবাসরত সুপ্রিয় বাংলাদেশী ভাই বোনেরা, Assalamu alaikum, good evening, and greetings from Dhaka. First of all, let me congratulate the Embassy of Bangladesh for organizing such a wonderful program to commemorate the two epochal events of our national history, the birth centenary of our father of the nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, and also the Golden Jubilee of Bangladesh. Right at the outset, I would like to pay my deepest homage to the greatest Bengali of all times, father of our nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman, whose indomitable spirit, selfless sacrifice, and great courage inspired us to fight for our struggle for independence. I also pay my homage to the 30 lakh Shahid martyrs of our of our liberation war, who paid the ultimate sacrifice for the cause of our independence, and also to the 2 lakh women who had to sacrifice their innocence in the hands of the Pakistanis and their collaborators. I also recall our, with great respect, our 4 leaders who led who gave leadership to our war of liberation, and also to the martyrs of Bangabandhu's family, who were brutally assassinated in 1975. The year 2021 is a very auspicious one in the history of Bangladesh. We are lucky, those of us who are working in the Ministry of Foreign Affairs at this particular moment are very lucky to be participating directly in the twin celebrations of the birth centenary of the father of the nation, as well as 50 years of independence of Bangladesh. Many of us will not have the opportunity to celebrate such epochal events again for the 75th anniversary. So I think I consider myself extremely lucky. In Bangladesh, we have been organizing many programs. And as you know, from 17 to 26 March, we had the wonderful opportunity to host five heads of states and governments from South Asia, from Maldives, Sri Lanka, Nepal, Bhutan, and of course, India. It gave us the unique opportunity to celebrate with our friends from the region our 2 events that we have all been talking about. This year is also another significant year for Bangladesh, because this is the year when we have been informed officially by the UN that we have fulfilled all the criteria for graduating from an LDC into a middle-income country, which means that we are well on our path to fulfilling the dream of the father of the nation, to becoming a developed economy. And as laid out in the Vision 2041 by our dynamic Prime Minister, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, we will be attaining the developed country status by 2041, which is the dream of the father of the nation, of Sonar Bangla. For the last 1.5 hours, we have been listening to the enlightening statements by all our distinguished speakers who have touched upon so many of the aspects of the life of Bangabandhu, as well as his contribution to the war of liberation of Bangladesh, to our freedom struggle, as well as his efforts to rebuild our war-shattered economy in the immediate aftermath of the liberation war. Actually, I don't think I have much to add here. I will just mention my own thoughts. Personally, I feel that the history of Bangladesh and the life of Bangabandhu are intertwined. It's like the weaving of a fabric, and you cannot separate one from the other. Whenever we speak of the history of Bangladesh from the time of like post-colonial, post-British rule up to his assassination, whenever we are describing the history of Bangladesh, it is almost like we are describing the life of his biography of Bangabandhu, because Bangabandhu had selflessly dedicated his life for the cause of Bangladesh, for the cause of the people of Bangladesh. He firmly believed that the people of Bangladesh should have freedom of expression, they should have dignity, they should have freedom from oppression, from injustice, they should have their economic emancipation, they should have their just rights, and they should be free from exploitation. After 200 years of colonialism by the British, we thought we had gained independence in 1947. Unfortunately, we became another colony of Pakistan. And Bangabandhu, right from the beginning, he started to he started the struggle against this new colonialism. So Bangabandhu inspired the Bangladeshis, all the people from all walks of life, to rise up against this tyranny and to fight the Pakistani oppressors. And he, even though he had been taken away by the, he had been arrested by the Pakistani forces in the early hours of 26th March, his inspiration was so strong that even though he was not physically present in the soil of Bangladesh, he continued to inspire us to fight, to continue the fight in his name until we achieved our ultimate independence and our ultimate victory on 16 December. So this is truly a great experience. Truly, we are proud that Bangladesh, we in Bangladesh have such a great leader. And we are also truly proud that under the leadership of Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, his wise and able daughter, we are now able to carry forward his legacy to attain the final dream that he had of Sonar Bangla, of a Bangladesh free from hunger and poverty and injustice. And I consider myself lucky that I am in the right place at the right time, so that we can steer, help to steer our country towards this end. I will end here. I would like to thank the embassy, particularly Ambassador Mizanur Rahman, for organizing this program and for inviting me to be a part of it. It has been truly a very learning experience to learn from so many, to hear from so many distinguished speakers. And it has been a very interesting and a very learning experience again. So thank you very much. And I wish everybody well. Thank you.
Thank you very much, madam, for giving us 2 hours from your valuable time. And we are really honored and delighted to have you. Also, many thanks to you, as you have given us a briefing on the activities organized by the government of Bangladesh to celebrate the birth centenary of the father of the nation and the 50 years of our independence. Madam, we also want to echo your sentiment that if we work together in the spirit of liberation war and in the ideals of Bangabandhu, we would be able to achieve a developed Bangladesh soon under the guidance of the daughter of Bangabandhu, Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina. Thank you again, madam. And with this, we have reached to the end of our today's webinar. Now, I would request Ambassador Mizanur Rahman sir to conclude today's program. Sir.
Thank you very much, Moshe. Ladies and gentlemen, today, now we have reached nearly the end of this webinar, and I thank you all for patiently being with us. Actually, today we are here all because of Bangabandhu. I am here, Ashfi, our secretary, East is here, because, you know, Bangladesh was created. Similarly, our Colonel Sajjad is here. He had to fight for the liberation war. Our Mujibur Rahman sir is here, Purushottam Chakraborty and Saad al-Muqaddam. These two, later on, Purushottam and Saad Muqaddam, they are also here because Bangladesh is here. And Bangabandhu contributed to the liberation of Bangladesh. So everything is centered around Bangabandhu. I would like to pay my special thanks to Qazi Sajjad Ali Zahid. I had the privilege of working with him when I was in the ministry. We worked together because Mr. Sajjad Zahid is involved in the decorating personalities who have contributed to a liberation war, and I had the privilege to work with him closely in that regard, and I thank him for today's valuable contribution. I also thank Professor S.M. Mujibur Rahman sir. Mujibur Rahman sir is actually my thesis supervisor, was my thesis supervisor, because I was also a student of physics. And thank you, sir, for all the collaboration, all the support that you have given us in materializing seminar and all this support that you always give us. Thanks to Professor Purushottam Chakraborty, I enjoyed his recollection of visit in Bangladesh. To keep up the spirit, and then I would like to thank Professor Saad Al-Qaddam. I thank the professor for participation in the program, and I'm sure that Professor, through his, I just met him very recently, and I had the opportunity to talk with him, a very learned personality, and we are indeed very much honored to have a person like him. I will request you, Professor Saab, that today's program, it will be soon in the our website, and we will provide you with the link. So if you could share this link with your students, that would be more beneficial, because the more we propagate events like this among our Omani citizens, Omani brothers and sisters, the more they will understand about Bangladesh. If you, as you know, in Bangladesh are marching forward, progressing through the able leadership of our Honorable Prime Minister Sheikh Hasina, daughter of Father of the Nation, Bangabandhu Sheikh Mujibur Rahman. Oman is similarly progressing, marching ahead under the leadership of His Majesty Sultan Haitham bin Tariq. In both countries, we have recently celebrated our Golden Jubilee of the 50th National Day. Oman did it in 2020, and we did it just this year. And while Oman strives to accomplish Vision 2040, we are working towards achieving Vision 2041. In future, we have plans to hold this sort of seminar, provided the corona situation improves, in Sultan Qaboos University, and with a much more wider audience. The aim would be so that Bangladesh and Bangabandhu are widely known in Oman. This is because while developing bilateral relations, we have, of course, concentrated on developing through our trade relations, export of labor arenas. But it is important that through programs like this, what we can achieve is the people-to-people contact, the cultural aspect. More the people know each other, more close they will be to each other. So through today's program, I'm sure when we have, since it is being recorded, when our Omani brothers and sisters will see this, and also our expatriates, they will have the opportunity to learn more about Bangladesh, about its history. সবশেষে আমি আমার প্রবাসী ভাই বোনদেরকে, যারা এই অনুষ্ঠানে দেখছেন, আমাদের এখানে অনুষ্ঠান হচ্ছে, তারপরে ফেসবুকও লাইভ হচ্ছে, সেখানে অনেকে দেখছেন, সবাইকে আমি আন্তরিক ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। আজকের এই অনুষ্ঠানে আপনারা যোগদান করেছেন আমাদের সাথে, এবং আপনারা সবসময় আমাদেরকে যে সহযোগিতা দিয়ে থাকেন, তার জন্য আমি ধন্যবাদ জানাচ্ছি। I forgot one thing to mention. I mentioned about so many people. I forgot to mention our Secretary West. I do thank her. You know, she has spent given at least more than 2 hours of this program. She was our very dynamic and capable ambassador in Nepal, and as she mentioned that recently 5 heads of states and government, they visited Bangladesh, and it was her wing which coordinated all this program. So thank you, Mashfi. Thank you, Secretary Mashfi, for attending to this program and being with us. Thank you very much. So যেটা বলছিলাম যে আপনারা সবসময় আমাদের পাশে থেকে আমাদের অনুষ্ঠানে সহযোগিতা করেন, আজকেও আপনারা আছেন, আমাদের সাথে থাকবেন। আসুন আমরা সবাই মিলে বঙ্গবন্ধুর যে সোনার বাংলা, সেই সোনার বাংলা করায় আমরা যার যার অবস্থান থেকে আমরা অবদান রাখি, এবং আপনাদের এই যাত্রায় আমাদের দূতাবাস সবসময় আপনাদের পাশে থাকবে। এটা বলে আজকে আমি এখানে আজকের যে সেমিনারটা, আজকের যে ওয়েবিনারটা সেটা সমাপ্তি ঘোষণা করছি। ওভার টু ইউ মৌসুমী, শেষ করে।
Thank you very much for attending our today's webinar. We are grateful to have you all, the distinguished speakers, the distinguished guests, and our members of our expatriate community here. And so today you all have spent more than 2 hours in this program. So we don't want to take any more time. So with this, I would thank you again, everyone. And with this, I would like to end our today's program. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank
Thank you.
you, Professor.
Thank you. Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Sanjay sir, bhalo থাকেন। Thank you. Assalamu alaikum. Thank you. Ashwi, thank you for attending. Thank you.
Thanks.
Assalamu alaikum, সবাইকে।
Bye bye. Thank you.
Beyimize söylemek istedim.
Beyimize ben söylerim. Sen git Kayal.
Ne söyleyecek misiniz bana?